the difference between a $1 million sales rep and a $2 million sales rep isn't always about product knowledge, but it's storytelling. Most reps just pitch features, but top performers tell stories that sell themselves. Storytelling could be the missing skill that separates you from the top earners in home improvement sales. I'll break down the 3-story framework in this video. Number 1 is involve yourself in the story. This is your opportunity to tell a story, but also establish yourself as the professional at the same time. So what I mean by that is don't just tell a story about somebody else in your industry who helped a homeowner. You need to tell a story about how you helped a homeowner. And that ties the knot basically for the homeowner to go, A, you're a trusting person, and B, you've done this before, so you're a professional. So you are basically killing 2 birds with 1 stone. Also, the story that you tell is going to start with a homeowner or even yourself who had the same problem as your current prospect. So make the story relatable. Make it relatable to what they're trying to achieve. You can say things like, hey, I had another customer just like this, or I was just having this conversation last week with a couple that I helped that was in your exact same situation. And that way you're able to end with some kind of measurable result. So whether that's like savings or comfort or peace of mind or whatever the value add is for them and why they want to get this project done. The second part of this is, when do you actually deploy these stories? Like, what's your timing strategy for this? What I've learned is that stories land best at specific moments in your presentation. So let's talk about where you're going to use those. The first is during rapport building. So you're going to share something relatable to the customer experience to build that connection. So this is more on the lines of like personal stories, like, hey, your flowers remind me of this, or your door reminds me of this. Something a little bit more personable. And it doesn't have to be a long story, guys. You're just kind of sprinkling these things in. The second part is during the company story or the presentation to tailor the benefits or the features to what the homeowner is looking for. So I like to use stories during a company story. So when I do my discovery and I'm learning about why they want to get this project done, during the company story, I'm not just saying, oh, my company's been around for this long, this is why you should buy from us. What I'm saying is, hey, remember when you were telling me that the reason you wanted to get this done is because of XYZ? Well, this is what my company does well. We handle XYZ. In fact, that's what we're really known for. And so I'm able to tailor my company story to a story maybe they had. Okay, so a little bit of a different take on using a story. And then during the presentation, when you're demoing a product or service, whatever you're selling, you are tailoring the benefits and features back to, again, what they said in the discovery step. So this is very pivotal to your sales process. The third part is during the close. So you need to be able to paint a really vivid picture of their future state or future satisfaction, what they're looking to accomplish, like what is the goal. One tip I'm going to give you here is never interrupt a homeowner's question with a story. Okay, wait for them to finish what they need to say and then wait for a natural break. A rule of thumb I have is whenever a homeowner's talking, you let them finish the sentence and then you wait 3 to 5 seconds before you give any sort of response. This just helps a more natural flow to the appointment and lets them know that you're listening to them. Basically, well-timed stories keep homeowners engaged, and it moves them emotionally at key decision points. The final step to this, guys, is preparation. Prepare 3 specific story types for every appointment. And here's what I mean by that. If you ride with any high-performing rep, do you notice that they say the same stories on every single appointment? And I've kind of broken these down, and feel free to mix and match these, but basically, the first I came up with is the skeptic story. So this is someone who was hesitant to buy, but then later became kind of like your biggest fan. Okay, and then number 2 would be the budget story. So this would be a family who found a way to afford the project and saw the instant returns or that instant result. And then number 3 is the urgency story. So a homeowner who waited too long and then regretted it. or one who acted fast and reaped the rewards. So essentially, this is just saying the cost of not doing business, right? So you use these stories every time. These will become part of your sales process. So for you to tell the same story about Mrs. Jones or Mr. Jones, you're going to find ways as you get better at your sales process to be able to sprinkle in these stories. Because what you'll realize is that everything reminds you of Mr. and Mrs. Jones, and everything reminds you of this story that you had and the flowers that you recognized and made you think of this. You're going to find these little like kind of 3 to 5 from the hip stories that you can always tell, and they're just nice segues to other parts of your appointment to be able to make it flow better. A tip I'm going to give you here is you need to practice these guys. Like practice this in your car on the way to the appointment. It's so pivotal to know exactly how you're going to say things, but not so monotonous that you're saying it the exact same way every time, because that gets kind of boring too. So make sure that you have, more than just 2. Like I said, give like 3 to 5 stories that you can give at any given moment. And then always end with a question. Like, don't just tell the story and then just expect them to absorb all that, right? Tell the story and then say, does that sound like a situation that you guys are kind of in right now? That's kind of the feeling I'm getting. And they would say, oh yeah, it definitely is. Oh, okay, cool. Like I thought it would be really relatable to what you guys were really wanting to accomplish here. So that's kind of why I brought it up. And the reason you do this is because you're never going to get to that point where you say, dang it, I wish I would have said this, and I wish I would have said that. It's just going to be a lot easier for you. So again, master your stories, and you'll be in a way better position when it comes to objections. In fact, I have an objection framework that you can download. I also have a couple courses. I want you guys to check out my courses and my links, and they're just great ways to get started to tie all this together. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe for more weekly tips on home improvement sales.